if you were to tell me, let me think, a year ago, that I'd be reviewing a set of Sony speakers, and they'd be about $120, and I'd actually like them, call you a fucking liar to your face. So, these are a set of Sony SS-CS5s, right? Did I get it right? Sony box? Okay, it's a bad name. And they look like real speakers. Sony hasn't, like everyone goes in the comments and say Sony had the best hi-fi back in the 70s and they came up with everything. But yeah, but I grew up remembering 90s Sony bullshit, like the plastic boxes that everyone was like, oh my god, I got this like 3-piece Sony setup with a CD changer on top. It's like, and everything was horseshit garbage. So when Sony comes out with a speaker, ported, nice 5-way binding post, 6 ohms, and then they're on this kick, by the way, if you haven't been to an audio show, which probably most of you haven't. Sony had a room 3 years ago at Rocky Mountain Audio Fest, and they had like $70,000 pairs of speakers there, like Sony speakers. And the gimmick, because everybody needs a gimmick to survive in this world. My gimmick is a head cam when I say fuck and anime waifus. Sony's gimmick was, okay, we're not just taking like a two-way. We're gonna go with a super hyper fucking fuck you tweeter that only hamsters that are specially trained can hear what comes out of it. And that's their new thing. That's their thing. So I'm going to use the term psychoacoustics, and here's how that works. Humans can't hear above like 20,000 hertz unless you're like a newborn baby, or you're a golden ear and you could my brother can hear dog whistles, all right? My brother can actually still hear dog whistles even though he's getting older. And it's just like the sound of my computer monitor, my old CRT used to kill him. And I'm like, what? I don't hear anything. And it's like, 50,000 hertz is what this claims it'll go up to. The one of those $70,000 Sonys was like 150,000 hertz or 100,000 hertz. That's so high pitch. Basically, you need to measure it to know that it's there. And the theory is that even though we can't hear it, our body still detects it and uses it like kind of like bats when they use hyper radar. You know, they eat and they squeaks in here, but bats don't actually hear that. Another part of the bat anatomy like literally picks up on that and does tracking. So the goal with Sony is give yourself a speaker, like a normal speaker, and strap this little fucker to the top of it, and then even if you can't hear it, it's doing something, which is a fun little game to play. I'll put them right side up, because obviously they're upside down because we're in my living room, and if I sit there, my head's down here, and I want it to be in line with a tweeter, and shush. Go watch my video on height dominance. Video on height dominance linked in the description. Future Zeos. Make that go. I've got the grills here. Big old grills. Not girls, grills. Not Bear Grylls, grills. They've got the little notch cut out. Honestly, for like they got a gap here. A gap there so you could pull it off, and that has this notch pulled away so that it fits around that. So there's a little extra effort gone, and there's no notch in the bottom. It says Sony down there. You want plain black speakers. You want to know why I bought these speakers, by the way? Like, Zeos, don't you have a lot of work to do? Why the fuck you dicking around with Sony speakers? Well, let me. Amazon.com, link in the description. $118, prime shipped. 5 full stars, 217 customer reviews. 5 stars, 5. There's not many things that can pull that off. And usually if they do, it's bots, but Sony isn't throwing bots on Amazon. So that means however many people bought them, enough people thought it was important to go to Amazon and say, these are fucking amazing. Thank you, people of Amazon. Sometimes you're correct. These don't suck. These don't suck at all. That's the thing. I was expecting them to be lacking in low end, or the treble would be insanely harsh because of the driver, or they would be built terrible. And none of those things came to pass. They're nice speakers. Hell has frozen over, everyone. Sony has made not just nice speakers, nice cheap speakers. like you have a choice. You can buy these. You can pick these up, and they're an actual speaker. The driver doesn't look the prettiest, but it performs. You got this, which doesn't really act as a mid-range. That's your tweeter. I'm gonna consider that like, ha ha ha, you did a thing, and then just like move away from it. But at the same time, the treble that comes out of these, and let's get on to some music that isn't AC/DC. I love my AC/DC, but the AC/DC's lawyers decided if you play any AC/DC songs on YouTube, your video gets muted worldwide. I knew that whistle was coming. And during the sound demo, I already did the sound demo for these speakers. I walk up, and usually in a sound demo, I'll walk up to a speaker and I'll cover the tweeter, just so you can hear what the tweeter's doing versus what the woofer is doing. Hi. And with these speakers in the sound demo, I covered just that, and then I covered just that. And I could tell in my headphones that something was going on. See, I think my Neumann microphones are sensitive enough to pick up whatever the super tweeter is doing. And when I was covering it, it wasn't making the treble go away. It was like, it was still there until I did that. I don't particularly recommend these for a desk, even though they are a decent size. They're not super deep or super wide. They're very tall. And they don't hurt you up here. That is, by the way, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Warriors of the Wasteland beginning compacted from the Warriors of the Wasteland compacted album. I don't know. I have so much Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Don't judge me. This is basically a love letter to Sony, saying thank you for actually like, I just reviewed the goddamn Sony Tazzies, the big amp, and I went, Sony, this is great, but it's too expensive. Well, Sony, this is great, and it's not too expensive. There's only one problem with these Sonys, is there's competition now. I just reviewed those Creative Labs EMU XM7s. Those are really good for the price. Those are $30, $35 cheaper than these. And also great and prettier. This is not exactly an ugly speaker, but your significant other might take note of like, oh, it's shiny and black and there's circles. I mean, you can leave the covers on. But the biggest problem these speakers have is that the new Mica RB42s exist, and I'm probably going to recommend those over everything else in existence. So, link to these wonderful speakers. Listen to them. This is why they get 5 stars. 5 fucking stars. They sound 5-star worthy on Amazon. No one got these and was like, these are shit, 1 star. No one gets that. No one looks at them and says, oh, they're ugly. They're not beautiful. This has got like a weird green going on, like a green sparkly shit, but overall tonality, by the way, that's from Red Sleeves, that's Adios Nonino. Picked a beautiful wallpaper. I pick the wallpapers for each one of these reviews, and I have to go and say, do I want to waste just like get rid of a shitty wallpaper? What do I want to use that wallpaper to sort of describe the speaker? This is all part of the process. Respect the process, Chewbacca. If I put a nice wallpaper on, that's when you judge the speakers. These are fucking superb for 118. These are worth, I hate to put money worth over sound because it varies so wildly, but if you stood these in front of me and said these are $250 a pair and I played them for a little while, I'd be like, oh yeah, I hear that. Sony actually did good, yeah. A little bit small in the driver, maybe lacking in low end for that sort of price, but tonality is just everything. And the treble is just a touch above what like flat would be. There's just treble. There's 2 fucking tweeters. There's got to be some extra treble in there. But it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hit you in the nuts and make you go, oh. It's just These will actually work as a living room speaker. They have a matching center. I will link these speakers in the description and the matching center in the description. You can put together the front end of a home theater. So fucking so cheap nowadays. But I will keep saying this throughout the next several reviews I do on speakers, is the RB42s exist. And they're smaller than this, which should mean they're not as good, or at least not as bassy, or at least not as loud. And that's not the case. The point is, if you're gonna get a pair of speakers, and let's say you just want to try these Sonys out because you really love sharp fucking imaging and treble, here you go. You have my permission. I understand the 5-star rating on these speakers. I bought them for a 5-star rating. They deserve it. They absolutely price the performance is off the chain. But Micah's. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say. Maybe these would compete. I guarantee you put the one against the other, these would lose. Or when you put the ones together, these would win. It's really, this is a wonderful time to be alive when I can buy Sony speakers from Amazon for 120 bucks and I have nothing bad to say about them. I'm standing here with a cat and a GoPro in my head and I'm just like, these are boring reviews. When I don't hate something or it doesn't have a really, really weird quirk, what do I got to say about it? It's a 5-star speaker. The dispersion pattern is fucking excellent. You can see how far that tweeter, the normal tweeter, sticks out past the slight waveguide. That one's sort of recessed. You get just a little bit more brightness right in front. But 5 stars. These are 5 stars. Maybe the title will have 5 stars in the thing. Because it's just what they are. They're actually fucking good. And it's sort of, I have to start reassessing my opinion on Sony. I still don't believe in their amplifiers. Like the headphone amp, that was one thing. But like speaker amps, Explode, Scar Stereo, never really caught on. But these, 100 watts, 6 ohms, 3-way. Who doesn't want a 3-way in their lives? Or in this case, 2 3-ways in your life. You pair these with a sub, you're golden. You're golden. There's nothing else to do. And they're not that ugly. I'm just repeating myself over and over again, so I'm going to end this review. I'm almost tempted to say I'll bring these to Rocky Mountain just to set them up. Just to say, hey, by the way, these are 100 and here's the wall of every speaker under $200 and just have like several speakers that all play under two because they're great. The sound demo for these in the description. It's probably going to sound a little sharp. I tried to adjust to compensate for that. Sound demos can lie, I don't. That's a good catchphrase. I feel like I need that on a t-shirt. Sound demos can lie, I don't. Believe me. These are 5-star speakers. Don't get too close to them. The treble's just awash with beauty. And they'll do enough low end. UGK Live Wires Connect. From the Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. OST. Yeah, so bravo, Sony. Fucking you're bringing it home, finally. I mean, I've been making fun of your shit for a long time, and now you're just shoving it in my face. So, that wallpaper, lovely. Available in the description. Sound demo, description. Links to these, description. Links to some of the other speakers I may have talked about that I said you want to consider these before these in the description, hubba hubba. And the sound demo, and tomorrow will be the sound demo released publicly, but you could check it out early by clicking the link below. It's still unlisted. If you want to join the Patreon money bought this. I love spending the Patreon money on cheap shit. You know why? Because people want cheap shit, and I'm interested to find out if it's good or bad or exceptional. And these are good. They're not bad. Are they exceptional? For Sony, yes. But in the world of like sub $250 speakers, I'm just going to give them the biggest nod ever. These are pokes? Absolutely. If you join the Patreon, by the way, you get to see these videos about a week early, maybe more. You get to ask me any questions you want via Patreon messaging. If you don't want to wait 3 weeks for me to respond to that, because that's how far the backup is now, the $10 Patreon exists. There's a $10 tier that gets you into a private Telegram chat with 160 other members, and everyone's having a goddamn ball in there because they're away from the riffraff of the public chats. And also, $5 a month gets you into the yard sale, which is important because since I'm starting to buy more and more cheap things, big piles of things, I have to get rid of them. I can't just keep them around. I already have a fucking wall of speakers back there. Hi, wall of speakers. So these will be in the yard sale. Whatever month you're seeing this in, the next month, yard sale, come on. If you pay $5 to be in the Patreon, you bid $48.31 because we need an odd, weird number so that you're not matching with anyone. If you win, I pay shipping in the continental United States. If you're international, I pay half the shipping for that. So you spend $5, maybe you save $100, maybe you save $50. But you know you have a chance to win this or any of other 10. Usually do 10 to 15 items every month. So I'm gonna go now. You guys go. I'll see you all tomorrow. I'll explain this whole shit again, and then we'll be good. Good? Good.